5 people you must avoid in old age. Even family Buddhism, as the Buddha once said, your own self is your master. Who else could be? This teaching reminds us that our inner peace and happiness depend on the choices we make, especially when it comes to the people we allow into our lives. Old age is often considered the golden chapter of life, a time to reflect, cherish, and find tranquility. But just as we carefully tend to our gardens, we must also be mindful of the relationships that surround us. Some connections nourish the soul, while others drain it. Today, let us explore 5 types of people you should avoid in old age, even if they are family. By doing so, you can preserve your peace, honor your journey, and truly embrace the wisdom of living a life free from unnecessary burdens. Number 1, the manipulator. Imagine this. You're enjoying a serene afternoon sipping tea when a call interrupts your peace. It's a relative needing yet another favor. At first, you oblige, believing it's just a small act of kindness, but over time, the requests become frequent, even demanding, leaving you feeling drained and taken advantage of. Manipulators are skilled at exploiting kindness. They appeal to your nurturing instincts and use guilt as a tool to keep you entangled in their web of needs. You may find yourself saying yes out of a sense of duty, only to realize that their reliance on you is less about genuine need and more about convenience. Each favor, no matter how small, begins to chip away at the sense of peace you've worked so hard to cultivate. In Buddhism, we learn about the importance of setting boundaries as an act of compassion, not just for ourselves, but for others too. Compassion doesn't mean enabling toxic behavior. It means showing care while protecting our own well-being. Over time, manipulators often escalate their tactics, using emotional leverage to deepen their control. They might remind you of past sacrifices you've made for them, appealing to your sense of consistency and generosity. If you resist, they may accuse you of being selfish or uncaring, turning your kindness into a weapon against you. However, the Buddha teaches us that true compassion begins within. Without safeguarding our inner peace, we cannot truly offer genuine kindness to others. To protect yourself, you must learn the art of discernment. When requests for help arise, pause and ask yourself, does this bring harmony or tension into my life? Consider the impact on your physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Practice saying no gently yet firmly. For example, I understand your situation, but I need to take care of myself right now. It's important to remember that setting boundaries is not selfish. It's an act of self-respect and self-preservation. Boundaries allow you to retain control over your energy and time, creating space for the activities and relationships that truly matter. In the context of Buddhist philosophy, boundaries can be viewed as an expression of mindfulness. They require us to remain present and aware of our own needs and limitations. By saying no, you are not rejecting the person, but rather the imbalance in the relationship. This mindful practice encourages you to focus on connections that uplift and support you. Imagine an elder sitting peacefully in their garden, surrounded by the tranquil sounds of nature. The phone rings, but this time they let it go unanswered, choosing instead to savor the present moment. This small act symbolizes a profound shift, a decision to prioritize inner peace over external obligations. By embracing this mindset, you reclaim your autonomy and create a life filled with genuine connection and joy. Number 2, the self-absorption. The Buddha taught that true connection arises from empathy and understanding, yet some people are so consumed by their own needs that they fail to see others. These self-absorbed individuals dominate conversations and relationships, leaving you feeling invisible. Picture this. You sit down to share a cherished memory, perhaps a story of a trip that still brings a smile to your face. As you begin, the person across from you quickly interjects, steering the conversation toward their own experiences. They don't just interrupt, They overshadow, transforming a moment that could have been shared into yet another spotlight on themselves. Over time, these interactions leave you feeling unseen and unheard, as though your presence serves only to validate their existence. Self-absorbed individuals often act not out of malice but from an inability to empathize deeply. They may genuinely enjoy your company, but their focus remains fixed inward, preventing them from offering the mutual respect and care that nourish true connections. This imbalance can be especially painful in old age, when the richness of your experiences and wisdom deserves recognition and celebration. Engaging with such individuals requires both patience and self-awareness. When conversations are dominated by their narratives, gently redirect the focus back to balance the interaction. Say, "I'd like to finish what I was sharing. It's meaningful to me." Such a statement is not confrontational, but rather a reminder that your voice matters too. Over time, consistent redirection can subtly encourage more equitable exchanges. However, it's also important to recognize when limits must be set. Spending prolonged time with someone who consistently fails to respect your perspective can drain your emotional energy. Limiting interactions or seeking relationships with those who truly listen and uplift you is an act of self-care. Surround yourself with friends, family, or community members who value your stories and insights. These are the connections that will affirm your worth and bring genuine joy. Imagine a gathering where every voice is heard, where laughter flows freely, and stories are exchanged with warmth and interest. Such moments remind us of the beauty of balanced relationships. They are a stark contrast to the draining dynamics of one-sided connections. In Buddhism, relationships are seen as opportunities to practice mindfulness and compassion by nurturing connections that are rooted in mutual respect. You create an environment where both you and those around you can thrive. In the quiet moments of reflection, remember that your experiences and stories are invaluable. They hold lessons, joy, and wisdom that deserve to be shared with those who truly appreciate them. Let go of the need to please those who cannot see your value, and instead, cherish the relationships that reflect the richness of your journey. Number 3. The critic. Criticism can sting, especially when it comes from those closest to us. The critic is someone who constantly points out your flaws or decisions under the guise of helpfulness. Their words can slowly erode your confidence and sense of self-worth. It begins subtly, often couched in the language of care or concern. "You know, you really should," or "Have you considered?" are phrases that, while seemingly innocuous, carry the weight of disapproval. Over time, this steady stream of critique can feel like drops of water wearing away the strongest stone. As it accumulates, it has the power to shape not only how you see yourself, but also how you experience the world around you. In Buddhist philosophy, we learn that the words of others are like arrows. They only hurt when we allow them to penetrate our hearts. This teaching reminds us of the power of choice in our responses. Criticism only holds as much sway over us as we permit. Recognizing this truth can be the first step toward reclaiming your inner peace. When facing a critic, it is essential to reflect on the intent behind their words. Are they genuinely offering constructive feedback, or are their remarks rooted in their own insecurity? Often, habitual critics project their fears and frustrations onto others, using criticism as a shield against confronting their shortcomings. Understanding this can help you approach such interactions with empathy rather than defensiveness. Responding to criticism with calm confidence is a practice in mindfulness. Instead of internalizing their words, consider responding with statements that affirm your choices. "I appreciate your perspective, but I'm content with how I've chosen to live my life." This is a simple yet powerful way to set boundaries without hostility. This approach not only protects your emotional well-being, but also signals to the critic that their words hold no control over you. In some cases, however, it may be necessary to create distance. If a relationship is consistently marked by negativity and judgment, limiting your exposure to such dynamics can be a profound act of self-care. Surrounding yourself with people who celebrate your strengths and support your journey can help you rediscover the joy and confidence that criticism may have diminished. Imagine a serene moment in your garden, the sunlight filtering through leaves as you tend to your plants. A neighbor's critical remark drifts through the air, but instead of reacting, you simply smile and return to the task at hand. This image embodies the quiet power of resilience, a reminder that your peace is yours to protect. In embracing this mindset, you honor the life you have built. Your worth is not defined by someone else's opinion, and your happiness does not depend on their approval. By choosing to focus on what uplifts and inspires you, you create a space where your true self can flourish. Number 4. The irresponsible. The irresponsible person thrives on others taking care of their problems. They may turn to you for financial or emotional support, often making promises to change, but seldom following through. Their behavior disrupts the peace you've worked so hard to cultivate. At first, their requests may seem reasonable. A small loan to cover an unexpected expense, a listening ear during a tough time, or help managing a temporary setback. You may willingly extend your support, trusting that your kindness will make a difference. However, as time goes on, a pattern begins to emerge. These requests become more frequent, and the promises of change or repayment grow increasingly hollow. The weight of their irresponsibility shifts onto your shoulders, leaving you emotionally and even financially drained. In Buddhism, the concept of karma teaches us that each individual is responsible for the consequences of their actions. By constantly rescuing someone from the outcomes of their choices, you inadvertently interfere with their karmic journey. They are denied the opportunity to learn, grow, and develop the resilience needed to navigate life's challenges. Compassion, in its truest form, requires balance. It is not an endless well of sacrifice, but a mindful act of support that respects both yourself and the other person. Acknowledging your limits is the first step toward addressing the behavior of an irresponsible individual. It's important to recognize that you are not obligated to solve problems that are not yours to bear. Practicing compassionate detachment allows you to care for others without becoming entangled in their chaos. For example, you might say, "I care about you, but I'm not in a position to solve this for you." Perhaps you could explore other options. This response conveys empathy while establishing a boundary that protects your well-being. Shifting from fixing to guiding is another way to manage relationships with irresponsible individuals. Instead of stepping in to resolve their issues, offer advice or resources that empower them to take responsibility. For instance, if someone repeatedly asks for financial help, suggest they speak to a financial counselor or develop a budget. By encouraging them to find their own solutions, you foster their growth and preserve your own peace. Imagine an elder lighting incense at a home altar, a quiet moment of reflection and prayer. This act symbolizes the practice of detachment and balance, a reminder to let go of burdens that do not belong to you. By prioritizing your inner harmony, you create space for joy and fulfillment in your golden years. As you navigate these relationships, remember that letting go of the need to rescue others is not an act of cruelty. It is an acknowledgement of your worth and the value of your time. Your golden years are a time for exploration, self-care, and meaningful connections, not for carrying the weight of others' choices. By setting clear limits and focusing on your own needs, you empower both yourself and those around you to thrive. Number 5. The ungrateful. There is deep joy in giving, but nothing feels heavier than ingratitude. The ungrateful person takes your kindness for granted, leaving you feeling unappreciated and disheartened. Over time, the weight of such interactions becomes more than just emotionally draining. It begins to diminish the joy you once found in acts of kindness. Imagine preparing a meal with love, only to hear complaints about the effort, or offering support during someone's hardship, only to receive silence when your own needs arise. Buddhist teachings remind us of the importance of giving without attachment to outcomes. True generosity comes from the heart, not from a desire for acknowledgement or repayment, yet it is also vital to recognize when your energy and resources are being misused. Kindness is a precious gift, and like all valuable things, it deserves respect. When the joy of giving fades, it is often a sign that the balance in the relationship has shifted. Reassessing such one-sided dynamics is essential. Are these relationships built on mutual respect or mere expectation? Ask yourself if the person truly values your efforts or if they see your generosity as something owed. In many cases, the ungrateful do not intentionally take advantage, but operate from a place of entitlement, failing to see the impact of their behavior. Understanding this can guide your actions, whether it means addressing the imbalance or redirecting your kindness elsewhere. Redirecting your energy toward those who value it can be profoundly fulfilling. Consider giving to causes or individuals who genuinely appreciate and cherish your efforts. Volunteer work, for instance, can be a wonderful way to experience the gratitude that comes from meaningful contributions. Picture an elder at a community center sharing stories with children or helping organize meals. The warmth of shared smiles and heartfelt thanks can rejuvenate the spirit, reminding you of the joy of giving. It is equally important to reflect on why you give. Acts of generosity should bring you peace and fulfillment, not resentment or exhaustion. By focusing on the positive feelings that accompany thoughtful giving, you can cultivate a sense of purpose and connection that transcends the immediate response of others. Let go of the need to please those who cannot see your worth, and instead celebrate the relationships that uplift and inspire you. Imagine a life where your acts of kindness are met with gratitude, where the people you help genuinely value your contributions. This vision is not a distant dream, but a reality you can create by choosing wisely where to invest your energy. Your golden years should be a time of peace, reflection, and joy, not of frustration and unmet expectations. By prioritizing your well-being and focusing on meaningful connections, you can preserve the beauty of giving while protecting your heart from the sting of ingratitude. As we journey through life, especially in our later years, protecting our peace becomes essential. By choosing the right relationships and letting go of those that drain us, we honor the wisdom and beauty of our existence. Remember, as the Buddha said, peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. Let this truth guide you as you embrace the golden years with grace and serenity. Surround yourself with love, kindness, and respect, the true pillars of a life well lived. What steps will you take today to protect your peace? Share your reflections in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more inspiring content. Together, let's build a community rooted in wisdom, compassion, and connection.